Hi. Okay, well, let's get started. Who are we reading next? Sagittarius. Okay. Here we go. For you. Please check out the description box for everything you need to know. Do not do personal readings. This is for your August general read. Also, look at your rising moon and Venus sign for additional messages. This may not resonate. Now, if you're here watching tarot, you may believe in other esoteric things. I am clairaudient, clairsentient, and claircognizant. If I hear messages on my right, ringing in my ear on the right, that means that I'm getting messages from people I know that have passed on. If I hear ringing on my left, those are messages from my spirit guides. We're going to use the Nicoletta Ceccoli tarot. It might not be a Ukrainian deck, but I definitely got a box with Ukrainian writing on it. So we're going to do past, present, future spread for you. There will be no clarification, but we will use magnetic poetry at the end for some additional messages. Now we got 33 by Smashing Pumpkins. Speak to me in a language I can hear. Supper's on the table. Tomorrow's just an excuse. We also got Time You Down by the Turtles. And I'll Stick Around by the Foo Fighters. Tomorrow's just an excuse away. Okay, Twist for Fairness for you. Alright, let's get started. Please subscribe if you aren't already. That way I know that, what I'm doing is not an effort in vain here. Past energy for you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. So now this is a non-conventional deck. So you would think after 24 years that I would already know the major arcana based on the Roman numerals themselves, but no, of course not. Of course not. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. In the past, what is energy from the past pulling in for you for August? Okay, well, we have too many that have flipped out on the table, but we do have a flipper here that we'll take. Okay, Hermit energy, I'm fairly certain that this is Hermit energy. In the reverse, fairly certain, yeah, it's Hermit. Virgo energy, but it's almost like the realization, coming out of the cave of self-discovery with a realization of sorts, something that's a deep personal truth that you now have insight into that you may not have prior. So something that you now understand about yourself. They carry, in the upright you can see they carry a little bit of a lantern of sorts. It's illumination being knowledge, some knowledge about yourself. It's that self-discovery. The hermit, of course, goes into a cave, into the darkness with the lantern, trying to seek a deep personal truth, deep inner truth, something of knowledge that you now realize. So that's something that's happened for you. Of course, we will read dignities as we move through into the present and the future. So we'll do that. What else, Sagittarius, in the past for you? If I'm up with you, don't try to tie me down. Hear that. Somebody with Sagittarius in their chart, they don't like necessarily to be committed to things, or the spontaneity in your energy doesn't like to feel necessarily. There's just that free flowingness, Yeah. Like to go where the wind takes you. That's too many. What else? Come on. Something about this truth you don't necessarily want people to know. Two of Swords, you are moving in a direction, hitting the fork in the road and choosing a direction of sorts. There is trepidatious energy with it, though, walking that tightrope. My life is a circus, and I'm tripping down that tightrope. It's a Papa Roach tightrope, a secret song off of, I believe Last Resort or whatever it is. I can't remember the name of the album. It's so old now. But it's a delicate balance that you're facing with moving down one of the two forks in the road, because classically the Two of Swords is sitting there at a crossroads, an impasse of sort, in stagnant energy with a blindfold on, turning a blind eye to something. You now, because you have realized that deep inner truth, you now know which direction to travel towards, but you know that there's precarious energy involved with doing so. Sagittarius. In the past. There's a little bit of celebratory energy as well, pomp and circumstance, because I was just thinking, you know, I leave this up to circumstance, you know what I mean? And there's only happy accidents here. But, you know, I always leave it up. You know, everybody's like, holy shit, why aren't you just pulling a card? Because I like to leave it up to circumstance. What's meant to fall or flip does, and there's a reason, right? So, yeah. So we have the King of Swords now. Aquarian energy, strategy, logic. Also classically, the King of Swords in the upright is known as a judge and magistrate, something of a legal sense, somebody who's a guard, corrections officer, police officer, somebody in an authority stance that looks at things from a justice or judicial standpoint. It's also about leaving emotion out of your thinking, a call to use strategy, strategic thinking. In the past, that was something that you had to do. Death. Putting something to an end, scorpionic energy. You might be a Sagittarius, Scorpio cusp individual. But this is also about putting an end to something or transforming something, which means the former things have passed. There's a sense of mourning that comes with this if we look at this card in particular. So interesting, I have noticed through these readings, and I've used this deck before and it never occurred to me, but these tend to have a little bit of a fairy tale theme to them. And if you notice in this death card, the dwarves are mourning Snow White's death here. They don't realize that she's not actually dead, though. She's in a state of deep sleep, right? Until true love's kiss comes and wakes her up. So there's transformation here. Snow falling. Keep going. The deep slumber to transform something, the ending of something. Using strategy and logic in order to move towards this ending or transformation in a specific way. This is the path that you're choosing in the past. Okay, we got 2, 3. I only take 3. This one will go down here. So we have the 10. Yeah, you're dropping burdens. This is a part of the ending and the transformation. You're dropping something that was a great burden to you, or responsibilities, extra responsibilities that seem to be weighing on you heavily. So that's something that absolutely has to do with this ending. There's almost like a lifting of something off of your shoulders. It was a great weight in putting something to an end here. It does threaten your stability in a way, though, and that is one thing that you may have been worried about in the past, is that there was a threat to your stability. This is the 4 walls of the home, the 4 posts of a marriage bed, always for me. But it's about stability, because anything that has a firm foundation has 4 posts, right? Typically, you know. It's a part, for me, I always think of sacred geometry as having to do with 2, 4s, 8s, 16s, that kind of thing. If we even look at music, it's sacred in and of itself, because classically, I won't say all music, because we know there are, you know, in jazz there's 5/4 bars, and there's, you know, 6 beat bars and stuff like that, but typically you will see that even music follows a 4/4 time and rhythm. Your rhythm is off. Equilibrium being off as a result of the ending in the path that you're choosing. It threatens your stability, but it is a lightening and a lessening of burdens for you. which is perhaps one of the reasons that you chose that particular path, because you knew that there was great burden that you were holding on to, and that was a part of your deep inner truth, was that there was something that was burdening you greatly. You know, you have to be strategic about it. In the present, there is a lack of communication or blocking communication with somebody that's happening. You're not speaking on something about this personal truth, or you're blocking somebody out as a part of moving forward in your path. Blocking communication with somebody, realizing that communicating with somebody is no longer a benefit to you. Typically, this is like the arrows. You know, we were listening, when I was listening to my songs, we had All Stick Around by the Foo Fighters, and not another song, a newer song. One of the songs that I like that's newer by the Foo Fighters is Arrows. It talks about Queen Gemini. So it could be somebody with Gemini in their chart that you're blocking out, but I always think of the Eight of Wands as arrows flying through the sky, the arrows of communication. So could be blocking out communication with somebody with Gemini strongly in their chart, or you could have Gemini strongly in your chart, but you're not communicating. You're not communicating, or you feel that maybe this is a part of the burden for you, right? There's something about how you communicate that you're not, or maybe that's a part of your deep personal inner truth, is that communicating is no longer productive in a situation. Or you're holding back communication about the direction that you've chosen in the past. In the present, though, again, oh, that's a lot. In the present for you. So, Sagittarius, what up? Something you're not speaking on. You don't feel it would be productive to speak on it. Our lips are sealed. Sealing your lips. My lips are sealed. You're not talking about something. Somebody might have confided in you something. And you're saying, my lips are sealed. So you've chosen an ending in the past, but there's also something that is not ending in the present for you, something that you refuse to put to an end. The World card in the reverse, I often will affectionately refer to this as the merry-go-round crazy, because it's the unending circle, endings and beginnings and endings and beginnings, you know, like the everything is everything, you know. Fixed energy of Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo. You're walking down a path where you have the ability to rekindle something that was ending, but you're being strategic about it. Surveying the land in order to, it's like a bird's eye view, trying to get a bird's eye view on something, on how to keep it going. The Three of Wands. Yeah, that's the part of the strategic thinking of the King of Swords in the past, is how can I get up above everything to see something in a different light, or see all facets of a situation in order to transform it. Breathe a different light, breathe new life into it. What else? Sagittarius. I think I had that for Scorpio too. Yeah, you might be very well a Scorpio Sag cusp individual. What else for you? Sag in the present. We got 3. I never take more than 3 when they flip or fall. That's because I'm at 3. Okay, I believe this is Tower energy. $16, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Tower energy. Yeah, Tower energy. Something unexpected is happening here. Something unexpectedly in the present coming to an end. Something toppling. Something surprising that you weren't expecting. where you're dropping burdens, has to do with logic and strategy. Logic would dictate that there is something that needs to come to an end. N and S, the letters N and S. Yeah, something unexpectedly ending. Or unexpectedly occurring, like sideswipe. Like a sideswipe. Something coming in unexpectedly to change the direction of things. There is an ending here of sorts. Yeah, 2 Scorpio cards. Yeah, and it's like you thought something was going to passionately, there was going to be passionate action that was going to be taken, but there's not. Or it's going to grind something to a halt where you would normally feel compelled to take passionate action forward. Now you're holding back on doing so. And getting the feeling with it underneath the 10 of Wands that it's like a not my monkeys, not my circus energy. Like it's not your responsibility to take the forward action towards something that's unexpected in the present. That happens, something surprising and unexpected. So you're hands off on it. Has to do with an ending. And then we have our Queen. Are these, sorry, just give me 2 seconds. They don't show. I'm sorry. This is the Queen of Swords. This is not the King of Swords. Still strategic logic thinking, but it's from an unbiased standpoint. Libra energy, not Scorpio energy. Or Libra energy, not Aquarius energy. Queen. Sorry guys, they don't actually, they just have the little symbols on them. Queen of Swords up there. It's still the strategic thinking. I'm not backtracking on that, but it's from the impartiality standpoint. Still judicious, but it's more the cutting through of truth. The truth is that something ends. You recognize the truth that something else ends. You're following your truth. Queen of Wands in the reverse. Volatility. There's volatility coming up here. This is feminine Aries Leo energy for me. Volatility. Sometimes I see this as third party. Only when it's in the reverse though. Anger. Passion and anger over something that has rocked the stability in a situation. I don't feel it's righteous anger though. Because circumstances it would dictate. It's like slings and arrows. Slings and arrows. And it's not the right reaction to slings and arrows. You know, slings and arrows, if you don't know what those are, yeah, the song Bending Hectic. I've got these slings, I've got these arrows. Despite myself, I got these things, I got these. Despite I force myself to. Yeah, so the thing is that slings and arrows are things, bad things that happen to us that aren't of our own making. They're slings and arrows that, you know, they're consequence. They're coincidental happenings that are unfortunate. But you don't. People are not justified to be angry about those things. You have to have the ability to relinquish the negative emotions associated with those. Otherwise, you get locked in a lower vibe energy, right? We all have slings and arrows. We have to have a deeper understanding that that's a part of putting us on the right path towards what's meant for us. And oftentimes you'll hear other readers talk about what's meant for you will not pass you by. That's actually true. I mean, you can hold righteous indignation for things, but when indignation passes into volatile emotion that's no longer healthy or productive. And that's what I see here with our Queen of Wands in the reverse. I almost wanted to shuffle again. In the future for you, Sag. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. That's too many, but we did have one that kicked out. Five of Swords. A self-deceptive energy. Deceiving oneself. A lack of communication is not healthy. Of shutting down communication of your emotions is not healthy, but there's also self-deception about something being reconcilable, perhaps. I think that's why you're trying to get a bird's eye view on it in the present. Yeah. There's no union happening in between two individuals, no meeting of minds. You deceived yourself that it was possible that a meeting of the minds in the future would be possible. It's not for a lack of trying to get the correct perspective on it, though, with the Three of Wands up there. I think you truly believed that something was possible. But you were fixed in the idea of it. You weren't willing to. You weren't communicating effectively about it, though. And you're deceiving yourself. There's circumstances that dictate. Okay, Page of Swords. There's watching. Somebody looking at something for the purposes of learning, having greater understanding of it. Gemini energy. It's also observation. Trying to observe something further for a deeper understanding on it. To learn. Trying to learn the lesson. Trying to gain a deeper understanding of why the tower occurred in the first place. After all of the things that all of the preventative measures that you attempted to put in place so that it wouldn't happen. How did you deceive yourself? Trying to learn why it was that you deceived yourself. How could you have not seen it coming? Well, Sag. Magician energy. Again, another Gemini card. Also Virgo. It's manifestation, but also illusion. I think it's more taking the mask off. Self-mastery. Mastering the elements. But also putting yourself in a place where, now that you know better, how will you act in accordance now that you know better? After gaining the understanding that you do with, by exercising the Page of Swords energy. How are you going to move forward, right? What are you going to put out in the world with that, manifestation energy? What are you going to manifest moving forward, considering what unexpected had happened in the present? Future energy for Sag. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Yeah, it's like the inaction of the present moving into the future. You know that sitting in inaction, having anger towards something and volatile, irrational thought isn't serving you. So what can you do moving forward to manifest? What can you manifest moving forward to help be proactive? And how can you self-master those emotions? What can you do to harness that energy in a more positive direction? Because sitting in the energy of that is not serving you. What else? Tell me more. Sagittarius. Six of Coins, balancing. Yeah, achieving balance. This can also be a Six of Coins is also either giving to charity or receiving charity. But it's, you know, Libra card, also balancing with somebody or balancing you in yourself. I think it's balancing the emotions and balancing the negative energy and negative emotion and thought and negative action, or the negative force that you put out into the world after an unexpected event. What action are you going to take? It's you know, balancing the feeling of inaction versus action, with the Knight of Wands above it and the Magician beside it. We got two, the Devil and the Nine of Wands, excuse me, in the reverse. Letting down your guard. Letting down your guard, and you're realizing something tangible upon the earth, or letting down your guard to indulge. Letting down your guard for indulgence. Capricorn energy on this. Letting down your guard and seeking out temptation. Letting down your guard to indulge in temptation. There's a warning here now. Not to get lost in tempestuous energy. It's funny because I was talking about the song Bending Hectic, and it talks about I'm letting go of the steering wheel. This is letting go of the steering wheel. Letting the universe drive for a minute. This is a warning also to have a profound, I mean, even though we have the Devil, and I do read the Devil a little bit more uniquely because I'm a Capricorn sun. But having it in the upright would normally be whatever. And I would read it differently than most people would. I don't see the negative connotations quite as strongly as other people do. Because we have it with the Nine of Wands in the reverse beside it, I feel like here it is almost like having a reversed Devil. It's a warning for how it's a harbinger that in the future there's a need, and especially with that Queen of Wands above it in the reverse. Volatility, irrational thought. Even more so, Sag, there is a temptation here. And are you imbibing, or is there a lack of respect for those things that are built upon the earth that are tempestuous in their nature? You're letting your guard down and allowing for that additional imbibing in those things. It's like letting down your guard to indulge to the point of excess. You're no longer, if you're getting into the excessive and letting your guard down and just letting your hair down, but letting your hair down for too long, you're no longer exercising the profound respect for good food, good drink, good sex. It's almost like the volatility and irrational thought and anger. There's anger in the present, dragging down into the future here, where you're letting go of the steering wheel and indulging your darker senses, the things that we consider sinful, when they're enjoyed to excess. Bottom of the deck, Judgment in the reverse. Yeah, you're making a decision, or you have made a decision. The overall energy is about making decisions, taking decisive action. Trumpeter's call, typically, here with this card. You know, I've got a lot of cards where we're standing up at the top of a tower and exercising decision making after like getting an overall picture of what's going on. Bird's eye view. But it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you've gotten a bird's eye view on it that you have the correct perspective. Or all perspectives. You're seeing things from far above, which means you're missing out on finite details. Or sorry, fine details, rather. Okay. Let's get some magnetic poetry for you. Lots of words for you. Okay, there we go. You can figure out sentences here. I'm not going to. Again, like I said, you might want to check out your other placements, but I think I'm going to call this a bird's eye view. But nonetheless, I hope that things go well for you regardless, and just watch out for that energy there. And we'll see you next time. Bye. There's your spread. Okay, perfect. All right, take care of yourself. See ya.